So welcome everyone today to our webinar. We're going to be focusing on how to go from leads into customers, and what those sales funnels and channels all look like. So we're really excited to get into this information today. As I mentioned, this is being recorded, so you will have access to the recording afterwards. I'll send a follow-up email probably tomorrow to everyone with the link to YouTube, where it's going to be at. And you can also always access all of our recordings of our webinars on our website, which is northmetrosbdc.com. We have a video library there, so you can always catch any content that you may have missed. And I also will be including in my follow-up email, I'll include the slides that Peter has shared. So don't worry if you're frantically scrambling to take notes, you'll get all of this information. And I'm Hannah Curtis. I'm Assistant Director with the North Metro Small Business Development Center. So for any of you who aren't familiar with the SBDC, we offer free one-on-one consulting to businesses, as well as some educational programming like these webinars and some online courses. So we're really here to support you as business owners and entrepreneurs. And we have some really great resources. So if you aren't connected with us beyond this webinar, we really encourage you to reach out. I'll be putting some information into the chat on how you can do that. And if you are connected with us, we want you to continue to use our services, and we're thankful for your participation. And speaking of participation, as we mentioned, we do really love for these webinars to be as interactive as possible. So please make use of the chat. Or if you have questions, you can just pipe up with those questions, and we'll have some natural pauses and breaks to answer those as well. So I think those are most of the logistics that we'll need to go through. So with that, I'll introduce you to Peter Brissett. He's one of our marketing specialists. He's been with us for years, and he's also got a couple businesses. So with that, Peter, I will turn it over to you. Oh, I'm so sorry, I almost forgot that this session is sponsored by our wonderful partners at the Brighton Economic Development Corporation. So for any of you Brighton specific businesses, they have so many great resources, and they're fantastic people that want to help you as well. So I'll be putting some information in the chat on how you can connect with your Brighton Economic Development Corporation representatives. So thank you to them for sponsoring this event.
Awesome. Thank you, Hannah. Great to be with you guys. Thank you, everybody, putting in where you're from and your businesses. So Manual, dryer vent wizard. Oh, you clean dryer vents. That's like your main thing. Cool. I like that. Interior designer. Nice. We got some yoga, Jessica there. And we're doing geophysical services. That's interesting. I gotta look at this website here. I'm just curious. Oh, look at that. It's like a sonar for the ground. Company management, web mobile tool. Oh, cool. Stacy. Dylan, health education. Okay, awesome, guys. Great. Well, we are going to get started here. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you all, so that we can go through some content here. And so kind of my plan today is kind of give you some foundational things about really what you need in front of getting to the marketing funnel. And then we'll talk marketing funnels, and I'll give you an example of a super simple marketing funnel that I put together a number of months ago for myself, for my own business. So you can see what that looks like, and you can critique it. And I'm telling you, it's super simple. And you're gonna go, okay, that dude's not too smart. But anyway, I'm kidding. So I do like to joke around and have a little fun, guys. So I need participation. Questions at any point in time, please ask. It looks like quite a few new faces. I've done a number of these webinars over the last couple of years for the SBDC and for Brighton. So there's a lot of content that we've covered, and there's some highlights that we'll hit with this. I will say this, where we're at with these marketing funnels is kind of a culmination really of the last 4 years of the training that I've been doing. So I put together what I call the marketing blueprint, online marketing blueprint, little over 4 years ago. And that marketing blueprint included these 8 areas. Because these were really the most frequently asked questions that I received. These are the things where we were doing the most services as a company. And so this really pulled together all of the key things that you needed for marketing your business online. Marketing funnels is the one we haven't got to yet in any kind of depth. We've done training on all these other areas. So if you go back to the SBDC website, we have training around marketing strategy. We have training about your website and content. We have training about social media marketing. We have training on email marketing and your reviews and referrals. All that training's already there for you guys. If you haven't seen that yet, check that out. We've touched on some of the paid advertising. So last month we just did for Brighton, we did the Meta Business Suite and how all that tool worked and all that. So again, all that training that we've done is foundational to our marketing funnels and getting to using marketing funnels. So it's kind of exciting. Hannah and I are excited today to offer this training to you because it's a culmination of years of training and work that we put together to bring that to you. So we're going to highlight a number of these, and then we'll dig into the marketing funnels. I don't know that it's going to take us 90 full minutes to go through all this. So, we may wind up ending up a little bit earlier. But again, any questions along the way, please ask. If I use a term or I say something that you're not familiar with, I try not to do that because I don't like to assume that you just know all the marketing terms that I know because I use them every day and they become common language for me, but that doesn't mean that's familiar language for you guys. So just stop, put a note in the comments and Hannah will let me know and we'll address those. All right, so let's jump in. That's all introductory. No extra charge for that. All right, so the first place we always start, and we do this with almost every training we do, is at least take a few minutes to talk about strategy. So strategy is the thing that has to drive everything that we do with our marketing. So strategy drives our tactics. What are the tactical things that we're doing? Those tactical things need to reference back to our strategy so that it makes sense of what we're trying to do. So we use the 4P marketing strategy. It's different than the 4Ps that you would normally see from higher education, kind of standard marketing 4Ps. It's a little bit different, but here they are. So the first piece is the people, right? Who's your target market? Who you're going after? Where are they? What are their interests? What do they look like? Where do they live? All those types of things around that. And then mentioning here from the very beginning about audiences. So social media is really about affinity groups and building audiences around certain topics and ideas and concepts, and with using in particular like Facebook ads, you actually build an audience of people that you can target. So you can go back to the training we did last month to get more information on that, but it's really important piece of getting to the place where you can do ads and do your marketing funnels. So have a clear picture of who that target market is and who you're going after. This is your ideal client, okay? For a lot of us, we might have clients that are a spectrum, right? Older, younger, different things, but somewhere in there is the ideal client. Who's the best ideal client for us? And that's the picture we need to have clear. And we tie all our marketing, our messaging around speaking to that client. We have to put ourselves inside their minds, how they think, the struggles they're having, and try to think like them. And start from that standpoint, and it makes the stuff that we need to do tactically much easier to understand and much more focused. The next thing then is, what's the problem? So what's the big problem that you solve? So this is really important to like clearly write this out and understand. So even from the standpoint, we have a yoga instructor here. So it's like, I'm just trying to get people into my yoga class. But not every person that wants to do yoga is the same. So there may be a particular type of audience that you like to work with in terms of your yoga. So is it someone younger? Is it someone older? Is it someone with particular health issue? Maybe there's somebody that has hip or back problems. And you're able to really help that person because of how you do your yoga teaching. And that's the particular problem that you solve for them. So if you're struggling with this issue with a back or a knee or a hip, then my yoga class is the class for you. So identify that at a deeper level. So again, this helps us differentiate ourselves from the competition. How are we different? Why does somebody want to do business with me instead of someone down the street? And the better we can describe that problem and the benefits of solving that problem by going with us and choosing us as the solution, then we can stand out from our competition. It makes it easier for our prospects to make the decision to do business with us. So identify the problem. And again, this goes back to all your content. We'll mention content in your website. What should I have on my homepage? Hey, we solved this problem for this client. That's like, it has to be super streamlined and identified so that when I come to your website, I know that am I the right person for what they're offering, and is what they're offering what I need? And if we can make that short and succinct, then we at least get them to the next step of the process. So then that process is how you particularly solve that problem. I use this technique. I have this service. I have these years of experience. What are those things that you actually do in your process to make that happen? And then kind of the fourth P, double P, passion, personality. This gets into kind of, this is kind of the optional extra of what you might want to add on. Are you the Jake Jabs, furniture guy, or the Dealing Doug, and you're out there in front as a personality? Or it's more mission based of, I do this because of what happened to me. And the example I use frequently is a gentleman I know, Bentley Baths. His mother slipped and fell in her bathtub, broke her hip, and unfortunately, went to the hospital, all that, and within a couple weeks had passed away. So he started looking for, now his father still lives in the same house. This tub situation is not safe. How do we solve this problem? And he started looking at all the options, and there just wasn't really good options out there. And so he's like, I'm gonna have to start my own company to come up with a better solution for baths and have like walk-in tubs and things like that, and make those available to this market. So on his website, he talks about that story, that journey of why he's doing what he does. So again, those are optionals. Those are other ways that you can do that, and just some ideas that you can work with there. Oh, good. You're sending out all kinds of links, Hannah. Awesome. Thank you. So when you get this, there's a lot of questions that you can go through. Lots of P's. I like P words that you can look at. So your website's an important piece of your marketing funnel. And we'll get into the details of this a little bit more. So I'm not going to go through this too deeply, but again, you want to make sure your website is solid. I often use the analogy of what you own online versus what you rent. So rented space online is things like your social media channels. I'm renting space on Facebook, meaning it's a temporary place. Like Facebook could kick me off anytime they want to. You know, even your Google business profile, where you're, you know, it has your location and people write your reviews there. Like the last few months, I've had multiple times where Google's just disabling or suspending the Google profile where you have all your reviews and all that. Like it happened to mine. Like they disabled it. I'm like, why are you disabling my business profile? Like, why would you do that? But I don't own that. I don't have control of it. And Google can, for whatever reason, decide they don't like something that you're doing, or they don't think it meets their policy guidelines, and boom, gone. And so now if someone wants to search for me and check out my reviews, they can't do it because Google just took it away. So rented space is what that is. The space that I own is my branding, right? My name, my messaging, my colors, my logo, and what we do for clients. And you own your website. Ultimately, you own your website. You have full control of your website. And I can build out all my content there. And that's a place that I own. And then ultimately you own your database, right? All the contacts and names and addresses and information that you've collected over the years. That's what you own, and that's what you have control. That should be the highest priority of how you build content, develop content, and market. And then things like Google Business Profile, Facebook, Instagram, all those others are the other additional channels that you can use, but you're always driving it back to getting them either on the website, to the website, ultimately on your email list, in your database. Has to be the goal of moving people from those other outlying places into the things that you own. So good note there. I don't know if anybody else has had their Google Business Profile suspended recently. Anybody else have that? No, not yet. Okay, good. It's not cool. Again, we have some questions there. Content, not really going to talk about this, but you know, we do have to create some content. We do have to create some videos. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, and I'll show you some of that. Got questions around that. Again, our social media channels. This is our delivery system. This is how we're going to kind of expand our content out there and drive people to our website. My recommendation typically is pick one channel and get really good at it before you start adding all the others. Sometimes we think, I got to be on all these social media sites and do all these different things. Go back to your strategy. Who's your target market? Is your target market a business professional, a leader in a company? Well, then LinkedIn might be your best platform to work with. If it's a middle-aged mom, then Facebook might be your best. If it's someone that's younger, maybe Instagram is a better place for you. So consider that in terms of your strategy in determining which channel you really want to focus on. But think again, how do you build audience? How do you increase the followers? One of the challenges that I see frequently is that we jump on social media and we want to run ad campaigns and start selling on day one. So it's really tough to start selling on day one. What you need is like 6 to 12 months of just hustle and hard work on building your audience and developing that audience out. And now you have an audience and you've created content for them and you've provided value to your audience, then you can start selling. Then you can start giving them some more solutions to problems. But until then, they're not listening. It's a very cold audience. You got to warm them up. You got to warm them, they got to get to know you, right? We're not on social media to buy something. We're on social media to be social. So we need to focus on the social education, providing value and building that audience so that we can sell to them, so that we can take that next step with them. If they don't know you and it's completely cold, it's really hard to take that next step and do business with you from that perspective. So one person I highly recommend, I don't know, Hannah, if you can find a link to maybe Instagram or wherever for Gary Vaynerchuk.
Gary who?
Vaynerchuk.
I will do some searching.
Let's see here. Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary V. He spends a lot of time talking about how you build your audience on social media and how to do that. And he's also very motivational and fun to listen to. So highly recommend following Gary V. Any questions on the social media segment that we have out there? Yeah, Jana's like, yeah, Gary V all the way.
I have a question, and this is kind of more opinion based, I think. If I'm looking for kind of like design is a little more of a luxury product and I'm looking for kind of that higher end client, how would you recommend, is there a certain platform you think is more aligned with that? Or do you have any kind of guidance around how to develop content? Because it's luxury, I kind of want to entertain, but I'm not looking for the DIYer. So I want to be aware of like how I'm building that social media. So I'd love any thoughts you have on that.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more of a challenge as you move up the scale like that. But I would say, so much of that is driven to me about, your before and after kind of pictures, like the visual aspects of it. And so I still think you can probably, it's not like you're going to get hundreds of leads, but will you get leads from a Facebook, Instagram from that and kind of, take that higher end artistic type approach to it. Yeah, I still think you can definitely pull leads that with people. I mean, there's people across the spectrum that have money that, are still using those social platforms. Again, it's not going to be high numbers. And that's a much tougher thing to build, large audience around, but still worth doing because, if you get 3 or 4 good leads a year from Facebook, like, you're in great shape, right? So, yep, we get some more videos there. Yeah, so I definitely do go much deeper into each of these areas in the previous trainings that we've done. So please check those out. And again, I'll mention here, if you dig into all that stuff and you still have questions, that's why I'm here to do one-on-one consulting. If you have more questions, and want us to dig into your individual business, then we can do that on a one-to-one basis and it doesn't cost you anything. All right, question on social media. All right, so email marketing. We'll talk a little bit about this. So this is an important piece of the funnel. So your email is, and doing some basic email automation is a part of your marketing. So what platform you use for that becomes important. Just starting out, MailChimp's a great application to use. The most basic version of it's free until you start, adding more options to it, and it costs a little bit more, but it's a simple platform to use. It integrates with a lot of other systems, and it's a good entry into the email marketing piece. My personal preference is called Active Campaign, and it's gives you an amazing number of tools to use for marketing automation and creating really good email marketing campaigns. And again, we have a whole training. I feel like I did a training on email marketing in the last couple of years, didn't I, Anna? Probably.
Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
feel like-
sure. Yeah, that the marketing playlist in our YouTube channel goes back to basically the beginning of the pandemic. So there's
Okay.
a lot of good resources in there. Most of them are Peter's, but there's some other ones in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I know we did somewhere in there, we did a whole email marketing training for that. So again, it's about building that list, and being able to do what we call an autoresponder, which is, and I'll show you this in our marketing funnel. They join a campaign, and then over a period of days or weeks, they're going to continue to automatically get a set of emails that you created ahead of time. And so that kind of that's kind of the first degree of marketing automation. Marketing automation can get incredibly complex. It can do a lot of things, but the initial kind of entry into that is our most basic marketing funnel, both with a very basic autoresponder. And so I'll show you what that looks like for that. So the big piece with this is segmenting that list. So we've talked about audience multiple times. So the reason to use a tool is to begin to have multiple types of lists within your database. So, there should be a list that people have purchased products from you before. So they should be on their own separate lists. Tracking your referrals, like who referred this customer to me? Like having that in the system so you know that this client came from a referral. Did they write us a review? Is another good thing to look at, because then you know who you need to send an email to still write your review, because someone else already, may already have. Maybe they purchased multiple times, or maybe you have 3 or 4 different particular products and you want to know which products they purchased or not purchased. So all those things are things that you can segment your list. And so there's 2 things that we do with this. We have lists and we have tags. And a tag is just extra information that you add. So someone could be on your newsletter email list, but they could be tagged as a client or maybe tagged as a prospect. And so maybe you send something different to a prospect than you send to a client. So it's really creating that segmentation so that you're sending the right content to the right people If you just have one big list and you're just sending one big email, that's okay if it's kind of like your monthly newsletter type thing. But ultimately, you want to start getting to where you can refine that, and so that you can send more direct emails to a list. So, I broke down my list last November to clients. I segmented out clients that we built a website for and clients that we hadn't built a website. And I sent an email to the clients that we had not built a website for, to do a Black Friday special for those clients. And so we got a couple new websites out of that, but I had to make sure that go through my list and segment out who we had built websites for and who we had not. So that's just some different things to start thinking about when you're using email marketing and some type of tool. You can really start to segment that list and do more targeted content, more targeted emails to that list. Let's see. Let's see here. Thanks, Hannah. Thanks, Hannah. Jana, Jessica, I'm building some referrals in my area with builders, but I feel compelled to have a social media presence, trying to figure out the right content for a luxury brand. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get the thing about feeling compelled too, right? I'm compelled. Yeah, I mean, for a lot of this, for me, it's experimentation. Test and try things. Come up with a hypothesis. Here's the result I would like to get out of this. I'm going to do XYZ for this amount of time, and I would like to get this much more followers or this much, likes, comments, shares. Like, come up with some goals and set a time frame and start testing it and play with it. Again, the focus has to be on providing value and what that target audience wants to see, and then and engage them and keep asking them, what do you want? Like, what is it you want to see? What's going to be valuable to you? And start finding that out, and then keep tweaking and keep testing. So it takes work. It definitely is work, and it definitely is a process. As much as I would like to be your answer man and just say XYZ, do this and you'll get this result. Everybody's market and things are so different that it just takes some hustle and some work to figure it out. Yeah, frequency. So that's a great question. Let's talk about that. I have, and it's in the slides here somewhere. So I call it RFP, recency, frequency, and proximity. So how recent and how frequent does it need to be to create proximity? Proximity means how close are they to the next step? And again, go back to our strategy. Who's our target market? What's the problem that they have? Look at how long, what's it take to get someone to move from not really knowing who I am to knowing who I am to buying from me? And what does that look like? What does that time frame typically look like? And then coming up with something. So if I go on a date, my first date, right? I jumped on to, Plenty of Fish, and I got a date. And we go out on our first date, and we're sitting there. At the end of the date, I go, you know what? I love you. Let's get married. What do you think her answer is going to be? And you guys have to respond. What's her answer going to be on the first date?
No.
Okay. Anybody else agree with that? What other fish are out there? No. Hell no. I love it. Hell no. Unless, now she did say yes, never. Yeah, the ladies are like, what is wrong with you? Now, if she did say yes, that would be a whole nother set of problems, okay? However, run away. Love it. Yeah, So why did that happen? Well, I told her I loved her and then we should get married, right? So that was recent, but it wasn't frequent. There'd been no, like, that might be dates for over 6 months or 12 months, or who knows, however long it might need it to be, to have some frequency and recency to create that level of proximity. So think about that with your clients. How recent and frequent do I need to be to help to start create that closeness where they'll like visit my website, or they'll fill out a form, or they'll join my email list, or they'll make a phone call. So what does that need to look at like for your particular client? You also have to, yeah, proximity is how close. Are they close or far? I want close proximity, not distant proximity. Pulling them closer to me. And so my recency and frequency needs to be something that's moving them closer, creating that close proximity. So think about that. There's no right or wrong answer for what that looks like. There's also thinking about what can I actually do? Can I do 1 post a day? Can I do 3 posts a day? Can I do 1 post a week? So think also about what you can do. And then you also have to consider, with something like Facebook, when I post something on Facebook, it's on my Facebook business page. Just because I post it there doesn't mean everybody that follows the page is going to see it. It's not an automatic thing. Now, because Google or Facebook wants that ads money coming in. They're having to adjust their strategy a little bit because of TikTok. TikTok's kind of making big waves right now. TikTok has a very generous algorithm where when you share new content, TikTok loves to push that content out and get a lot of views on that content, where platforms like Facebook and Instagram have been much more like their algorithm is, much more difficult and not as generous. Instagram's already starting to make adjustments to be a little more generous on how much it shares out your content, because TikTok is kicking Facebook's butt. That's basically what's happening right now. So something to think about there in some of those spaces, but you have to consider what's the algorithm doing with my content and pushing it out. To do that, which kind of, you got to think a little bit about TikTok. You really got to consider TikTok a little bit right now because of how generous they are with their algorithm with that. That could change, but that's where they're at. So reviews and testimonials, super important to be gathering those. Not going to spend any more time than that on that. All right, let's talk about marketing funnels. This is the big thing while we're here. So I had to lay a little bit of foundation. So I like to organize marketing funnels around what I call ACEs marketing. So it's attract, capture, engage, and then sell. So, and this is basically, this is the context within what a marketing funnel is. So on the front end of a marketing funnel, I have some type of offer. So what does that offer? Is it a free download, an ebook, video training? Is it some type of marketing widget? So I would think of widgets like, custom calculator. How do you calculate a certain thing? Like, how do I know? I'm thinking of like a home organizer that can go, you know what, if you're doing XYZ, you're probably wasting a lot of time because you're not organized. Could be a mortgage calculator, sure. You're wasting a lot of time because you're so disorganized. So answer these 5 questions, and based on your answers, I can tell you roughly estimate on how much time you're wasting. And so they answer the few questions, put in their email address, they hit send, and then they get an email. Based on your answers, here's where you're probably wasting time. Could probably help you. Let's set up a follow-up phone call and talk more. So there's a lot of different ways that you can come up with some type of offer, a checklist. So what I'm going to show you, what I created was a checklist, which is, a super simple front-end offer to offer folks to get them into your marketing funnel. So to capture that, so I come up with the offer, and that's what I market. I then start marketing my offer. Here's my checklist. Get my checklist. So if you're doing ad campaigns or just posts on Facebook, however you're doing that, this is the thing that I'm marketing now. So now I'm not marketing my product to say buy my product. I'm marketing something that's free. And it's a lot more fun to market something that's free. And you can get more creative with your marketing messages and pushing something out there that's free. Something that's free is some people are more likely to kind of take a minute and at least consider it and look at that versus buy my product. It could be a buyer's guide, how to buy a certain product or service. Or Jana, thinking of interior design. How do I choose the right interior designer? Or how do I have a successful interior design project? So something like that, that's again, high value, super high value, at least perceived very high value, that you're going to offer as a very helpful tool. You're going to create it once, you don't have to keep creating it again. So, your time is worth money. It's valuable in creating this once. But if this can bring you a handful of clients over a period of time, then that time's well worth it. But you don't have to spend that time anymore once you create this. Right? We've created something that functions on a more automated level for your market. So then the next piece of this then, is a landing page. So this is a page on your website, typically, where they're going to learn more information about this free offer, and they're going to sign up to get the free offer. And I'll show you a simple example of that. And then once they do, they've now filled out that form, and that puts them into some series of follow-up emails that they're going to get that delivers that content and that information over, either one time or it could be 5 times. It doesn't really matter. It just depends on what the content is that you're offering and how you want to do that. And at some point in that series of emails is what's the next step? What's the next step I want them to take? Do I want them to buy something at the end of that? Do I want them to schedule a meeting with me? Do I just want to add them on my monthly newsletter and that's it? Like, what is it I want to kind of see? What's my sell on this? And it's not necessarily that they actually purchase something from you. Could be, but it could be moving them to the next step. So yeah, so Mayo landing page versus homepage. Great question. Your homepage is your homepage of your website, right? And it's very focused on kind of the high level, general, specific things about your business. The landing page is not your homepage. It's a separate page specific to only to this particular thing that you're offering. And I'll show you an example of this. Ideally, it doesn't even have like your normal navigation that you put on most pages on your website. It just has, like, they can't go anywhere else but that page and what's on that page. There's one single call to action, and there's nothing else for them to do on that page. There's no distractions to do anything else. And again, I'll give you an example of what that looks like. So your website's part of the tools of this. Again, Active Campaign, and I'll show you what this looks like in Active Campaign. There's some other funnel tools out there. There's quite a few. ClickFunnels is one of the most popular funnel building tools. It's definitely a much higher complexity, much fancier. So, you know, and it costs more. Like it's a few $100s a month to use that platform. You don't have to have that to do it. So I'm going to show you what I did on my own website. It's a very simple, you know, setup that I did. It's a very basic marketing funnel. But if you're really digging into marketing funnels and you want to learn a lot more in depth, ClickFunnels is a good place to go to do that. Yeah, Jill, the marketing widget is kind of the, again, it's like a free calculator, or, you know, answer these questions and we'll tell you, you know, what the right answer is. You know, it could be, I know I've done one for like senior care. You know, do you need, you know, does your mother need assisted living? Answer these questions. And so based on the answer to those questions, then they'll get a particular type of email. So so you might ask, you know, a question like, you know, do they need help with activities of daily living? Like, do they need help bathing? Do they need help dressing? And so you can put numbers to that. So there's different form tools that you can use that will create these questionnaires that people fill out. And then once they get done, you can have it designate what type of emails they need to send to say what they should do next. So the widget then is that, you know, I'm marketing, hey, get this, you know, free report on, you know, does your mother need assisted living or not? So again, it's about marketing something that's free, and it's easier and funner to market something that's free than offering something, hey, buy my product right now. So we get them in the front end so we can warm them up, get them introduced to who you are so that you can move them on to actually becoming a customer. And so most of our marketing then becomes about these valuable free tools or checklists or whatever it is for your particular business that we're going to offer them. Buying guides, again, is another example too. Does that help, Jill? Okay, awesome. All right. So if you want to look at an actual example. All right, so again, a little bit going back to our strategy, a common problem that I come across for my clients and potential clients. So in particular, when we're building a website, I need some information. So if we're going to take and redesign their website, I need some information outside of all the content and all that type of thing. But I need to know the login to your domain. And I need to know the login to your actual website. Those are not necessarily the same thing. So my domain name is something I might buy on GoDaddy, and that costs me $20 a year to buy that domain name. But the domain name in and of itself is not the website. So the way I like to think about these things is that they're different buildings and they're in different locations, and you need a different set of keys to get into them. So we have your domain name, we have your hosting account. It's the computer for the files for your website sit. And then you have the website because I want to change and edit the content on the website. And then I have an email account typically connected to that domain name as well. So those 4 systems are separate buildings and they need a separate set of keys to get into them. And it's confusing. Well, it's just my domain name. I just log in and I just log into my website. So whatever login that they happen to have, they don't realize it's completely separate from the website and the domain. They're 2 different things. And what can happen, like the serious level of the problem is a problem I had with one of my clients. So we were hosting his website and I thought we had full access to his domain, but we actually didn't. And his domain was actually in a different person's GoDaddy account than his own account. And that other person saw it there and decided to cancel the domain. Now, this was a business that was, it's a multi-million-dollar business, and their website and email and everything was connected to that domain. And all of a sudden, it was gone. And it took several days to sort this out and to get the domain back. I basically had to beg, borrow, and I reached out, finally figured out who the person was that canceled it. It's a crazy story, guys. I don't have time to tell you all of this story, but it was crazy. It took 3 days. There was some issue with like a boyfriend, girlfriend breakup, bad breakup. It was drama. It was all drama. But we got it back and we saved it. But again, really knowing where your domain is and that you have full access and control of it and that you can get to it. So that's the problem, right? I'm just describing to you the problem of that. So I built this checklist to solve that problem. So the one thing I'm going to share with you, let's go in here, let's see what I've got. I want to go back over here. Check. All right, so one of the things that Hannah's going to send you is a link to this Google Doc. So when you get this, you can't edit this document, but this is the example I'm going to show you right now. This is the planning guide that I use to create this campaign, and you can use it to create your own campaigns. These are kind of the key pieces that are needed. I try to really simplify what this looks like. So when you get this, you're going to go to File, make a copy for yourself to save it, and then you can edit this and change it any way you want to use it for yourself. So Hannah will send you that link with the follow-up training. So this was mine that I created to create this campaign. So I start with what's the goal of the campaign? I want to increase the number of prospects. Let me bump up the size of this just a little bit, so people can see it. So I'm going to add more prospects to my email list and add them to my monthly marketing message, which is the monthly email I send out. And my ultimate goal is that they would actually sign up for a Zoom call with me at the end of this or at some point in the email series. So that's my goal, what I'm trying to accomplish. Now, what's my main traffic source? How am I going to drive traffic to this particular landing page? So I've done some postings on Facebook and done some Facebook ads. I also have a link to this from my main from the website on our website design page. So, and I'll show you guys that. All right, so what and where will the landing page be? So it's going to be on the main website, but I want to remove the navigation off the top of that page. And then I've got a link here to the page that I'll show you. What's key content for that landing page? So I'm going to have a video explaining the worksheet, quick little picture of the worksheet, and then an opt-in form for them to sign up. So again, kind of talk to you about the problem. Just kind of put that note there for myself, just to remind myself, you know, this is what we're focused on here for this landing page. What goes in that opt-in form? I just need a name and email. I don't need any other information there. So the list. So within, again, ActiveCampaign or other tools, you create a list. So this is what I'm going to call that list. Am I going to add a tag? So I typically like to add a tag. So this is my website, WCIC, Website Critical Information Checklist. I like to make up names for things too, by the way, guys. What is a website critical information checklist? I don't know, but I made it up. Okay, just make up stuff. It's fine. Are there thank you pages? Sometimes you do things where you have, hey, I filled out this page and I go to a thank you page. And then maybe you have another offer on the thank you page or the download on the thank you page. There's different ways you can do that. I'm not doing it that way. What are the number of emails in the sequence and time delays for the emails? So I'm sending 6 different emails. The first one they get right away. So first is immediate, typically, and then I'm setting 3 days apart for the remaining emails. Links inside the emails. So again, I just use this kind of as a reference place to put in my links. So this is the page that they're going to go to in the emails. And then again, with marketing automation, especially with ActiveCampaign, if they click on this link inside the email, I can actually have something else happen. I can send another follow-up email. I can add a tag to their record. I can increase their score of likeliness. You know, I can just increase the score and so that I can sort by their score. So this is part of the benefit of having email marketing and some type of campaign like this, is that you can actually see who's the most active and what are they doing. And then every action that they take at that point, you can then track and actually have something else happen based on that. So, and then I just made some notes here. So I've got to make some content around this. So I'm going to make 4 videos around those 4 areas, and I'll show you that. I'm going to do a little PowerPoint that just kind of highlights those 4 areas. And then I've got all these emails that I got to send out. So I got to write the content for those emails. So I've got a folder here. Let's go here. So this is under, so our website development, we call 999 websites. That's our basic website service. And actually, so go to our website, go to website development, big video, my face, 999 websites. So there's some information there about our websites. And then I've got this section right here was the place where I have the website critical information checklist. And again, asking this question, can you access your domain hosting website and email admin settings on a movements notice? Look at that misspelling right there. See, guys, you don't have to be very smart to do this. Okay. So on a movements notice, that's great. I'll fix that one. Or remove access from someone you no longer work with. Go to the sign page. So that's on my regular website. So here's the sign up page. So you see on this page, no navigation at the top. Okay, it's still part of my website, but no navigation at the top. I've got this video here that introduces the product. I won't go through all this. So I just talk about that. I say, fill out this form below. So there's a picture of the checklist. They put in their name and email, hit submit, and that will add them to the list. Okay, again, that's the landing page. And then I'll go ahead and show you this link. So the link they'll get in the emails is this page. So they can download the checklist here. I'll show you the checklist. So it's a PDF form that they can fill out. So they put the link to, whatever the thing is, and I can put in their username and password in here. And you can either save this or you can print this out. And now you've got your login for your registrar, your hosting account, your website, and your email access or email. And then you can add some notes to this if you want to. So now they got a quick, easy place where they can save that, keep that information. And I'll send this to you, Hannah, too. So everybody on the training can, you'll
Great,
have
thank
that.
you.
You guys can use it. You don't even have to. You don't even have to sign up. And then on this page, I've got a video that explains. So each of these videos is about 2 to 3 minutes long. That explains, what is a domain? What's a registrar? How does that work? How does hosting work? What is your actual website? Where is it at? And then what do you do about, what's the deal with email? How does email connect to your domain? How do you access email? What are the platforms you use for email? So a little bit of education on that they're going to get on this page. So, and then I think I just threw this email marketing training there just for fun. All right, so let's go to ActiveCampaign then. And look at how we set this up in ActiveCampaign. So ActiveCampaign calls this an automation. And so in this automation, it starts when a contact completes a particular form. So I created a form called Website Critical Information Checklist inside of ActiveCampaign. So let's go back here to this. I'll show you that form. So simple form, name, email, submit. And then it gives you the options on how you integrate this. I copied that code and put it on the website, so it's on that form. Go back to my automations. All right, so they fill out that form. I have it added that tag, so they get that additional tag. And then they get this email. So the first email that they get, let's put this up here so we can see it. I'll go through a couple of these. I don't need to go through all of them. So thank you for requesting them. Click the button below to download the checklist. And look at all these misspellings in here, guys. I keep telling you, you don't have to be that smart to do this. And so this link here is the link that I showed you that takes them to the page where they can download it and watch the videos. So they might go watch all the videos. They may watch none of the videos. I don't know. Again, right? Sometimes you get an email, you ignore it, but hopefully they go to it right away. Here with this ActiveCampaign, I can track that and see what they've done and, for that. So then I have a wait period here for 3 days, And then I'm going to send them another email, and this email is going to talk about domain names. So the first video in the series. So I talk a little bit about domains in this email, and then again, the same link to that page where they can watch the video. I wait 3 days. I talk about hosting in this email, do the wait period. I talk about their websites, and have a link to the page. I talk about their email accounts and how email works. And then the very final email I send out, so that takes a couple weeks for them to get all the emails. I ask them if they have questions or challenges, that they can just schedule a free call with me. They click here, that takes them to my Calendly link that allows them to schedule a time on a call with me to do that. That is your basic marketing funnel. Let's see. Would this be your specialty? Me, you're asking if it's my specialty, Stacy?
So like there's so many parts of marketing, and I was trying to figure out if your specialty was doing the websites or the ads or like what, because I've taken marketing classes at a few different ones, and they kind of focus on different areas. Like one does the Stitchcraft marketing, and one does just like small website marketing, like makes small websites. So I was just trying to figure out if you would be the one to come to for more like online marketing, because you seem to have a lot of knowledge that are different things that you focus on than they do. Sorry.
Yeah, no, great question. Yeah, so again, a lot of what this started with is around strategy. So most of the questions that we need to answer are start with that strategy question. So that's always been kind of my starting place with marketing strategy. So whether you're doing online digital marketing, offline marketing, doesn't matter. Strategy is foundational. Where we as a company, spend most of our time and do most of our work is in the website development piece. So regular standard websites, content-based websites, and e-commerce-based websites. So that's our biggest focus. We do some of the other things depending on the client and the market. We have a couple different niches that we work within, but we're certainly not everything to everybody. That's tough to do. So depending on, again, at the highest level, I'm a consultant, and I want to find the best solution for you, which oftentimes is let me refer you to someone else I know that does that particular type of marketing really well. And you can have a conversation with them around that. So hopefully that answers that question. Okay. So yeah, you're welcome. So that's the basics of that particular campaign, right? We have something we came up with as a checklist. We have a landing page for that that we put on our website. They get some emails, and ultimately, our goal is that we'll get some discovery calls from that. So that's the ACES marketing, and these are the questions around that. Which Hannah sent you that link already, and she'll send that link to you again, to that form that you can fill out to to add all the key elements of that. And then get into some paid advertising. Again, the training I just did recently on Meta Business Suite is really good training. So we get into a little bit of that stuff with the Google Ads and all that. Questions, ideas, thoughts, complaints? Does that help? Does that make sense? Like, are you going, okay, I think I know what a funnel is now?
I have a question, Peter.
Mhm.
How often do you suggest like changing up the whatever it's going to be that attracts them? That's like the carrot that they want.
So that's a great question. And this is a good important point. So it's not, once you create a funnel, like what you saw is the most basics of creating a funnel. Kind of the next stage of this is funnel optimization. How do I optimize my funnel? And so, what that comes down to, oftentimes is, do I need to change this video on this page, or is this title here not the right title? Do I need to do some different colors here? Like, so now I'm going, okay, I sent 100 people to this page, but only 2 people signed up. So now I'm like, okay, how do I make that 4 people sign up? And so now you get into the whole, this is one of the things that's great about creating at least a basic funnel to start with, because now I have something to optimize. Now I can go back and go, okay, let's make this better. Let's see if I can increase the number of people that will actually opt into this. And so right now it's 2%. Can I double it? Can I get to 4%? Or what's it take to get to 10%? And same thing with the emails. You can go back at my emails, I can look at my open rates. So now I can look at every subject line in every email. Are my subject lines in my emails getting them to open the email? And then who's actually clicking the link? And how many times are they clicking that link? So now you can begin to go to optimize those pieces in the funnel. And that's where you're spending most of your work. So, and then you go back to the front end. If I'm running an ad, what's my ad copy? What's the picture in the ad? So I run an ad for a week. I got 10 clicks and I got no signups. Okay, great. Change the ad. Like, do a different ad. Work on that copy of the content and make improvements to it. And so the next week I run a different ad and 10 people clicked the link and 1 signed up. Okay, great. I made some progress there. So you're just looking for little ways to make progress, to improve it, and to optimize it. And so even just the most basic funnel like this, this is where you start to spend more of your time in optimizing that funnel. So I wouldn't necessarily change it from a checklist. Maybe I need to work on the name of it, because it's kind of a long, crappy name. Website critical information checklist. Do I really want this? Because that sounds really difficult. I may not want that. So but at the same time, it's like, create something that you start with, and then you can go back and optimize it and make those changes and adjustments to it. So yeah, great question.
Thank you.
I have a question about the content of each email marketing. So you have got like 6 emails. Does each one need to have like content and add value, or could it just be kind of entertaining? Because I think about when I sign up for some of these, I don't maybe open anything but the first, but they might show up. And then I'm remembering that company and I might go back to the email like sometimes 6 months later or a year later, because I don't clean my email out very quickly. And then I'm like, oh, that's that company I liked. And I might go to their website again. So what are your thoughts on that? Because like make a video for each one, like, and that makes sense for this example. But again, just like kind of thinking about it from, a different perspective, or like knowing how I interact with the marketing funnels that I receive. Like I don't open probably anything past the first one most of the time.
Yeah, so this is a combination of things, right? And optimizing that. So are my subject lines really captivating? So that when I read that subject line, it's like, oh, there's something of value there. I want to open it. So that's part of it, like your email subject lines. And so going back and being able to look at that. It's also kind of remembering that there's a little bit of that human behavior involved in that, where if I'm sending out multiple emails, they may not open every single one of them. So having the right information in each of the emails. So if they're only opening email number 4, can they get everything that I already offered in emails 1 through 3 by accessing email number 4? So there's a little bit of repeating the same information in some ways, so that they're not missing they're not missing something. You're helping them catch up with it. So you got to kind of look at both of that. What am I providing that's valuable that will get them to open this email? So listing and creating email subject lines is super important. So if you go back to the email marketing training, give you a couple tools and ways to come up with email headlines to make better headlines. And it's just be slightly creative. Take a few minutes, think about the email headline. So I don't do it enough myself even, but every once in a while I'm like, all right, let me get a little more creative with my email headline I'm sending out. And it's remarkable the increase in replies coming back to me, people clicking on things and opening the emails, because I got a little creative with the headline.
I had a question.
Sure.
You know, I see you talked about those. You usually talk about those 6 emails, and I get emails as well from various sources that have some kind of information. And I guess my question is, like, how do you go about creating that email? I see that you don't, in those 6 emails. I mean, it's like what, maybe 3-4 lines, and I think about in my space, I could be anywhere from I cater to anyone from the person who has no knowledge to the person that has a lot of knowledge. Like, how do you create that? How do you go about creating that email? I guess that's my challenge.
Yeah. Well, so a little bit of that, you got to go back to your strategy, right? Who am I writing this email to? So again, here's what's kind of cool about using a system like ActiveCampaign that allows me to begin to segment that list. So if you have the newbie and you have the experienced, and you don't know which is which on your list, so then that would be how I would start some of my emails early on. And again, with a tool like ActiveCampaign, I can have something happen when they click a link. So I can be like, hey, if you're a newbie here and you want to get the basic guide to what this is, click here. And they click there, and then now we tag them as a newbie. So future emails, I know I can send to that newbie list. But you can always include that, because not everybody's going to click on the links. So maybe you always include those options in every single email. Hey, this is who this email is for, or this is what this email is about. By the way, if you want a more specific targeted email and you're a newbie and want our newbie guide, click here. Use better terms than I'm using, okay? But if you're an experienced pro and you want our pro content, then click here. And so you can start to really segment that list and break that list up so that you can send emails designed just for the newbies. So now you get more targeted. And then you can send emails designed specifically for the pro, the experienced person. And you can begin to break those up, and you're going to write that content differently, right? Based on who you're writing it to. So yeah, if you've got all those people are kind of grouped on your list and you don't know who's who, then that's kind of your first task, your first job is to start to tag and segment that list in your system to know which one they are. And so that you can write content specific to each of those.
Okay.
help?
Yeah, so I believe what I hear you saying is when you create your ideal customer and its customers, it sounds like,
Could be.
sell to um, communicate, I'm going to say, to each one of those customers and also let them segment themselves. I heard you say as well.
Yep. Yep,
Thank you.
let them self-select then what category that they're in, so that you can send the appropriate message to them in the future. Based on that segmenting. And it could be, it could be that you write the content all for the pros, but then you just have a link here. Hey, if this is over your head, click here. I've got some other content for you to look at. And so you give those people some option, but you don't necessarily writing new content. You just kind of have your standard content, on a page on your website, let's say, that helps them, understand this better. And again, experiment, because the real question is which person is more likely going to buy your service and become a customer. Because that's really where you want to spend most of your time and energy, is who's actually going to buy from you, most likely, at some point in the future. So
Thank you.
good question. All right, we're about at time here. Thank you guys for letting me share this with you today. Again, thanking Brighton Economic Development for hosting this. Hopefully you guys found that valuable and useful. Again, I know it's going to take some work and some time. There's probably like 8 videos in front of this one that kind of like lay the foundation for all this content here today. But hopefully that at least gets you started down the right track and at least understanding more about basic marketing funnels. For that, if you want to look at your own content and information and do one-on-one consulting, Hannah will send you a link to my schedule so that you can schedule that. So, all right, Hannah, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. That was great. That was pretty much all the wrap up information I wanted to share. So keep an eye out for my email with all the content from today and links, like Peter said, just make an appointment. If you do want to dive into this further one-on-one, again, those are free appointments. So we really encourage you to take advantage of that. And a big shout out and thank you to our partners at the Brighton Economic Development Corporation. So yes, thank you all for joining. Reach out with anything we can help with, and we hope you have a great afternoon.